Shout out to the Cows gang. I'm your host, Mr. Palmer, and welcome to the show, Victim or Volunteer. What I want y'all to do, grab the nearest couch, sit back, and enjoy the ride. Man, Cows gang, this is gonna be a double header. This is gonna be a Victim or Volunteer special. We gotta talk about two different situations. One, Brian McKnight sued his ex-wife for defamation of character, and he ended up winning $8.8 million. Damn! You can't make this shit up. Now, she didn't show up to court, and he won by default, you know what I'm saying? And what I want y'all to do is check out the video of him talking about the victory that he done won.
It's been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking. But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million. And this is just the beginning, because anyone and everyone that helped promote these lies will hear from my lawyer in the days to come. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. That from my voicemail is the voice of a liar.
Do not text Nico again. Do not call Nico again. Leilani, if you are also checking these messages, that goes for you as well. I am very serious about this. I am very serious about this. Do not text him, period. Period. Please understand that. And Brian, you know me. You know me. And you know that I mean what I'm saying to you.
Now, y'all just heard what he said. He said there's gonna be more lawsuits coming, and there's gonna be more money gonna be dished out for his pockets. Now, we gotta talk about the fact that you have mixed reactions. You have people saying, hey, God is good, you deserve it, you've been through a lot of turmoil between you and your wife and your kids. And you have others saying that he was wrong for putting it out there on his late son's death day, which is Nico, rest in peace to Nico. And his son, Brian McKnight Jr., responded to that. I want y'all to check this out.
I've tried, man. I've tried really, really hard to not touch on to let it go, to be the bigger person, to be mature, to be something. But on with my dad right now, man. If y'all aren't seeing what's happening, if y'all aren't seeing the fact that this is just a very hurt and a very emotionally unavailable and not intelligent person, the person that is still have not been able to handle the death of his own mother, the things that we're seeing him go through right now, to decide to make certain posts on my late brother's birthday. Say what you want, dog. But the gloves are off for me, just to keep it real. And the thing about it is, it's like, I get it, man. You know, our parents, they're humans too. They've gone through things too. Whatever the grievances they have against each other, whatever. My issue is, though, man, you don't want me to start talking about the things that I had to deal with in my childhood, the things that I will take to my grave, the things that my brother took to his grave, that we could put out there, the things that we could say as a son, as a teenager, as a 15-year-old that my brother was when we started touring, the things that we went through together, the things that we actually saw, the things that we actually lived with and dealt with because our dad wasn't emotionally intelligent enough nor mature enough to actually be a father. You don't want, and without even getting too deep, man, it's like to do it on my brother's late birthday, my baby brother's heavenly birthday, his first heavenly birthday. This is the post you decide to make? That's not petty? You don't think people are going to realize that that's ridiculous? And that it's obviously strategic? Who are you trying to hurt if it's not me and my mother and our family? Who are you trying to hurt? Who are you trying to hurt, man? Which has always been my issue. Which is why way back when that started all this, I made the post that I made because I knew that this was the only thing that would get you, man. Maybe that was my fault. I've taken accountability for it. But it's become obviously clear, and maybe not even just me, and I'm hoping to the masses that we're dealing with someone that has unchecked trauma that they're not dealing with. And to everybody else, man, you know, use us as an example for the fact that it's like, don't believe everything you see in the media either. There are multiple sides of a story. There are multiple sides of it. You know what I mean? Because you love this music, because you think you know this motherfucker, you don't. I do. My mama does. My dead bro, God rest his soul, knows him. Who you gonna believe, man? Stupid. It's petty. I hate it. I hate talking about it. I hate being a part of it. It's such a shame. We watched the Jonas Brothers and their families touring the world together. Should have been us. The problem was, my dad didn't want to do it. He just wanted to So in closing, man, just to keep it real, this isn't the last time I'm going to talk about this, because I've realized that maybe it's time for me to start talking about this kind of stuff. Maybe it's time for me to start not airing out, but being vulnerable enough and open enough as someone that has lived an insane life. I'm going to start talking about these things, man. It's unfortunate that we're going through this with my father. It's unfortunate that y'all are watching my father and my mother duke it out publicly. But what I can assure you is, though, the truth will be revealed. You'll feel it. You'll know it to be true. If you actually have a heart, if you actually have a soul, and you at the very least try, you'll see the truth.
So what y'all think about this, Cows Gang? Now, the son said that, you know, he could be petty, he could come out with a response, but I want you to go back and listen to what he said. When he said it, that it's his fault for putting out that post about his dad, and he did it around 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And he said he'd take accountability for that, but I beg to differ. Now, I want y'all to understand, this stemmed back 6 or 7 years ago, where his two sons and his daughter called him out saying he didn't want to be a father. See, this is some years going on with this off and on separation, or if you want to call it estranged. But now it's at the point now where, you know, he don't want nothing to do with him. And unfortunately, his younger son, Nico, passed away. Let's talk about this. What his son said, Brian Jr. I got the video when he talked about this, Brian McKnight, because they made the post saying that he was looking out for his stepson, Jack, and not them. Man, these some grown kids, they're adults. I believe 30 and 27 at the time. I could be wrong. And if it's not that, then they both was in their 20s. I want y'all to check out a video that Brian McKnight spoke on. Like I said, this was about 6 years ago. And I'll get back to you.
Hey guys, it's Brian McKnight here. I've been traveling about 17 hours to Guam. I have a concert tonight, and I got off the plane to some of the most heinous craziness I've ever seen in my life. That my oldest son, Brian, would post that I'm abandoning my children. And the reason why, I suppose, is because I have a new family, and I guess this stems from a post that I made the other day about my son, Jack, who I'm very proud of. which isn't to say I'm not and haven't been proud of my other children, but I was proud of this one for the things that he did that day. But we'll get back to that in a second. Anyone who knows me knows over the last 20 years, 30 years now as a matter of fact, that I've been there for my children every step of the way. Until recently, and let's be clear, my two sons are 30 and 27. Not 12, not 13, but 30 and 27. Now my daughter's about to turn 18, that's another story I'll get to in a second. I've never missed a day of child support. I've never done anything adverse to my children whatsoever. I've always been there. I've always been there with advice, whether they took it or not. I've always been the sounding board, and I've always been the one that tried to help them achieve whatever dreams they were wanting to reach out for. I guess one of my only faults is that I gave my children everything that I didn't have in the hopes that they would appreciate it, because I know how much I would have appreciated it when I was their age. I would tell you as parents out there, entitling your children is probably one of the worst things you can do, and I know I am guilty of that. For whatever reasons, I'm guilty of that. Tough love is a tough thing as a parent to try to institute to your children, because you want to help them as much as you can, and I did as much as I possibly could. When I stopped doing that for them, BJ was 25 and Nico was 22. And it wasn't like I completely cut them off at that point. That happened much later. But I've been there. When I put them out of my house, I gave them an apartment for 2 years. And I said, guys, this is it. This is the time to grow up. I'm giving you 2 years. I'm gonna pay for everything for 2 years, but you're gonna have to work or do something, because at the end of those 2 years, that's gonna be it. It's time to be men here, guys. It's time to grow up. At the end of those 2 years, they hadn't done any of it. It was just right around the time that Leilani and I had gotten together. Leilani was working at Children's Hospital. And let's be clear, Leilani has been one of the only people who's been an advocate to keeping us together, to keeping us having a relationship, because she wants to have the nuclear family as much as I did. And they have spit in her face at every turn. She got them jobs at the hospital, $18 an hour with benefits, and with the option of the hospital actually paying for them to go back to school. They said, and I quote, that they knew they didn't want to stop smoking and they would have to pass a drug test. And the day I had the doctors looking into it, Nico's on there, taking a big puff, which is fine. If you want to smoke, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's bad. If that's your choice, that's your choice. But what I'm telling you is that we have been advocates for them every step of the way. Now let's go to the part where we have been estranged. Again, we talk about abandonment. I'm not abandoning them. We are estranged, which happens more often than not in this particular situation. BJ broke into our home a few months ago, and he put X's on the eyes of our wedding photos. And then he put a photo of my first wedding on Leilani's vanity. It was at that moment, and after I heard him say, and was pointed to from other friends of mine that saw his posts on social media, that he basically said that I was better off dead to him than alive. I was more valuable to him dead than alive. And that was the end of me dealing with him. If you look at my Instagram, you'll see that not my last video, but the video before that, 42, the song was written by Brian and I, and it was directed, the video, by Nico. And I went on and I said how proud I was of Nico at the time, and I really, really was. He did an awesome job in that video. Even before that, less than 2 years ago, these are the two gentlemen who stood up for me as my best man in my wedding. So abandonment, deadbeat dad, I'll reiterate, I've never missed a day of child support. I've been there every step of the way. BJ, he talks about Jack's new car. BJ had 3 brand new cars before he was 22. But I'm not talking about material things, because none of this has anything to do with money. It's about respect. Respect goes both ways. And even in family, there's a line that shouldn't and should not ever be crossed. It's crazy to me that people will just believe anything, and I thought it was important to set the record straight and let you guys know that abandonment has nothing to do with any of this. Deadbeat dad, I've been there every step of the way. And let's also remember that these kids are 30 and 27, not 12. It's time for grown men to be grown men. And I'm sorry that tough love happens to be this way. And I do wish them the best. I want them to have and to reach their dreams and their full potential, but like any other man in the world, you got to go out there and you got to take it. As far as my daughter is concerned, You know, her mother, if you look back at my Instagram, she was a part of this family too, with Jack and Julie and Leilani and myself. And unfortunately, along the way, a couple years ago, I got wind that there was an older cousin who was above 18 who was quite possibly having sex with her. So I called, as a father should, to the state office for children's affairs there in Arizona, and I never heard anything back. But the next thing that her mother did was to block all of us from her social media, from her phone, and completely estranged her from us. So what that told me was they didn't want me to be involved in her life that way. So to see the post that she said, considering that her mother only had a child with me for money in the first place, and I'll reiterate this, I have not missed a child support payment. She goes to one of the most incredible private schools in Arizona. So I don't know where this is all coming from, but I thought that I needed to let everybody know that there's another side to this story. You can choose to believe what you want. I thought that I would lay it out there for you. Anything that I say is actual and factual. All you have to do is Google Brian McKnight and Sons, and you'll see us singing all over YouTube. Go back and look at my Instagram. Go back a couple of years. You'll see that I posted about all of my children. But remember that these kids, these boys, they're grown men, and tough love is exactly what it is. It's tough love. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening, and I hope that gives you a little bit more perspective.
So what do y'all got to say about the Couch Gang? As you heard what he said, that they was living with him and his new wife, Leilani. He told them that they need to be grown men, get a job. He was going to let them have an apartment. He was going to pay for it for 2 years. But after that, he got to do what they got to do. And he did say it was his fault for buying them everything. He also said that his son had new cars before he was 22 years old, and I believe it was 3 of them. And he had issues with his stepson getting a new car for his accomplishment. Now, he also stated that his wife had a job for him to work at the hospital, would get benefits, go back to school free, and they didn't want to stop smoking weed. So basically, he said he's giving them tough love. Man, they grown. They're not 13, 12 years old. He stated he paid his child support. When it comes to his daughter, he said that the woman he had a kid with, she had the child for child support. He always paid his child support, and he said that when he got wind of an older cousin over 18 having sex with her, he called DCFS. I assume that's the state that he called, and that's when his wife and cut on ties with him. He couldn't talk to his daughter, so he let that be. But he said when it came to his kids, they all was together, his ex-wife Julie, everything was fine, but then all of a sudden things changed. So let's go down to 2 years ago, where he had to do another response when they were saying he abandoned them, because at that time he started, living his life, focused on the family that he has, and he basically just once again estranged. And again, they saying he abandoned them and they're making up stories. And also his daughter had filed a lawsuit for defamation because of what he said that went on. And here's a video that he did two years ago where he talked about no abandonment, no made up stories, no false statements, and no defamation. And he's gonna talk about that lawsuit and how his daughter chose to get a certain amount of money versus the $1 million that she wanted off his life insurance policy. And he's gonna explain to y'all that this was about money. And I'll let you hear the rest from Brian McKnight. Check this out.
Brian McKnight here. There's been a lot of discussion online lately about how I talk about my family on social media. Typically, I prefer not to give attention to the internet trolls, but now my family is being harassed online and accosted in public, apparently because some people can't handle seeing my happily ever after. Coming after me is one thing, but the moment you come after my wife and our children, it's another story. Because even more important to me than defending my name is defending and protecting them. I want to address some of these recent discussions. There is a very simple reason why I post about some of my children on social media and not others. The children that I do not currently have relationships with, I don't post about them. Instead, I post about the children with whom I do have relationships, with whom I am proud of, and about whom I want to share my pride in their accomplishments. I don't live in the past. I live in the present and the future. I am so proud of the man I am today the husband I am to my wife Leilani, and the father I am to our children. I'm so proud of our love, our family, our life. So I will, without apology, continue to shout about it as loud as I can. If you can't help or handle seeing happiness and love, then I respectfully ask you, why are you even on my page? Maybe you should ask yourself that too. Another thing a lot of people have been talking about is the lawsuit my adult daughter Brianna brought against me a few years ago. There's been a lot of misinformation about the case and a lot of people who don't know what happened acting like they do. I think it is important to clear up some of that misinformation. In 2020, my biological daughter Brianna sued me for defamation and breach of contract. I posted a page from the lawsuit here and the file number down below so you can look this up for yourself. And you will see that she did not ask for an apology or even ask that I remove the alleged false statement from the internet. All she asked for and all she wanted was money. The case was dismissed before there was any decision whether my statement about her was defamatory. We settled the case earlier this year, and I agreed to pay Brianna some money, but here's the interesting part. She sued me for defamation and breach of $1 million life insurance policy, and I agreed to pay her $318,000 with no admission of any wrongdoing whatsoever. You heard that right. She dismissed $1 million case in exchange for payment of $318,000 with no admission that I did anything wrong and no requirement that I retract my statement or remove it from the internet. If someone said that I did something I didn't do and I won a case proving that I didn't, I demand a public apology. I demand an acknowledgement of wrongdoing, and I demand a retraction of statements. The face value of that life insurance policy was $300,000 with $18,000 worth of interest. I did not defame her. I made no false statements. I made up no stories. You can do what you will with that information in deciding who you think won the case. I know that some people on the internet would rather not know the truth about what happened, but for those of you with an open mind who are more interested in facts than rumors, I hope this helps explain what really happened in that case. Finally, I want to address the abandonment issue for the last time. Those kids and I have had a long history of conflicts, mutual estrangements, and resolutions. But there was a time when we were truly a successfully blended family. Julia, Jack, BJ, Nico, and Brianna. Our home was filled with love and acceptance, so much so that the kids were all calling each other siblings, contrary to the picture that's been painted online. Christmases, birthdays, Thanksgivings, Friendsgivings, all spent together, even standing up for me as my best man in our wedding, along with their brother Jack, which I posted a pic of here. Shortly thereafter, the same conflict over money arose again. We parted ways, and the next thing I knew, there were 2 posts from Brian and Brianna in 2019 telling the world a completely different narrative for the reason why. I never abandoned anyone. Our estrangement was mutual, but those posts made any roads towards reconciliation and acknowledging them a dead issue. And I changed my will the next day. I've spent the last 30 plus years building a recognized, respectable name, and ironically, there are still people out there who are trying to smear my name while still carrying it, hoping to use it for their own benefit. I make absolutely no apologies for naming my infant son Brian. I want him and the world to know that he is the one who is my true legacy. So I'll be over here, continuing to love and protect my wife and our children as we continue to love our life.
Man, what y'all think about that Couch Gang? Now, he said that they settled and she decided to get the $318,000 of that life insurance policy that he automatically had to have for her because of the child support. So, and he also stated that if I'm in a win-win situation, I'm not suffering no $300,000. I'm gonna go for the $1 million. He didn't have to apologize. He said he did not have to take anything down. All he had to do was agree to give her the life insurance cash policy that valued at $318,000. So do you think he's telling the truth? You think he's telling a lie? What do you think? And he also talked about he didn't abandon his children, and he finally washed his hands, he taking them out the will, with his sons, and he took them out the will, and he's focused on his new heir, which is his youngest son, who's now, Brian Jr., Even Brian McKnight changed his name to isolate himself from his oldest son. Now, of course, Brian McKnight Jr. said he's not gonna change his name and stuff like that, because I remember that came into play where Brian McKnight said you don't want to be a McKnight, then change your name. And he said he wasn't gonna change his name. So, and that's funny how his wife, Julie, his ex-wife, Julie McKnight, won't change her name either. That's very funny. But, he's a deadbeat, he's a lowlife, he's abusive, but yet you don't want to change your last name. That's funny. But yes. So we're gonna fast forward to 2024, where Brian McKnight allegedly said that Nico's wife had to, try to get help from him, and she reached out to him. He tried to give the best doctors, the best hospitals, move with him so he could take care of him. His wife could stay there, and the wife said she wasn't getting no help. It was just her and Nico. He had cancer, and he said that his ex-wife called his phone and told him do not contact him, leave him alone, he don't need your help, blah, blah, blah. And he decided to just fall back. So I want to check this video out and I'll get back to you.
Hey everybody, we are still here in London, riding high after the concerts this weekend with Boyz II Men, and we are so grateful for all of the love. I wanted to take a few moments to talk about something that I'd already addressed 6 months ago, but I hesitate to talk about it now because the subject matter is so sensitive and so serious that I don't believe it's for public consumption. But because people keep asking me about it, I feel a need to address this once again. 6 months ago, when we found out about this, we called him, we talked to him, we talked to his wife. She told us that she was all alone and handling everything all by herself. And it became quickly evident to us that since they didn't have insurance and they didn't have access to the proper doctors, naturally, and even though all this nonsense has been going on for years, we jumped into action. We asked for his medical reports. We received those medical reports. We hand-delivered them to the best specialists in the country. Those specialists outlined a plan of action that would give him the best fighting chance. We miraculously found a treatment facility near our home that put him at the top of the list, and then we put down a deposit to secure that place. We were arranging to fly the two of them to our home privately so that she could be with him and not have to work and really just focus on his treatment. And in the midst of that, we received a very hostile phone call from his mother saying, "Do not contact him. He does not need your help." And I can only imagine that if that help came from me, that it would go against the strong narrative that's being pushed out there about me. So what are we doing? We're adhering to her wishes, because that's what she wanted, and we're staying out of it. And we're doing the only thing we can do, which is pray for him, which I hope you do too. Thanks.
Man. What y'all think about this? It's unfortunate that, that you have ex-wives or ex-girlfriends, y'all have kids, that they hate the man more than they love their children. If this true about what he said, then it says a lot. Unfortunately, Nico did pass away. Definitely an unfortunate situation. They never got the chance to, rekindle or talk. They say he wasn't there when he died. And, here where we are today, 2025, when he won this lawsuit. Now, the video that you heard him speak on, and you heard that voicemail from his ex-wife, allegedly that's the voicemail she left for him when she didn't want him talking to Nico. And she did mention Nico this and Nico that, and told his wife don't contact him at all. Don't hit him up, and said, "Ryan, you know me." So I guess she said she's gonna bust them dope moves. What do y'all think about that, Cows Gang? That's definitely an unfortunate situation. Nico did not have no insurance, and he had a fighting chance if, she would allow Brian McKnight to handle that. Now, what I will say, in my opinion, by his son being grown, even though the baby mama Terrace, his ex-wife, said what she said, I'd have reached out to my son And I would have asked him, is this something you really want to do? You want me to fall back? Your mama said this. What do you want me to do? And if he say, hey, fall back, I'm good, then I would, but I would have reached out. But listen to that voicemail. I do understand why he fell back. Because no one want to continue to deal with bullshit after bullshit when you trying to be a father to try to save your son. That is definitely an unfortunate situation. So I want y'all to understand, Couch Gang, this has stemmed back for 6 or 7 years. I wanted y'all to see the video from back in the day, some years ago, all the way to now. If you go on his Instagram page, you have a lot of people saying you was wrong. Why did you put it out here? You should have kept it to yourself. You did on your son's death day and it was calculated. You're a deadbeat. And to be honest with you, it don't matter what day he put it out there. The truth is he exposed his ex-wife for lying in that book, saying he was abusive, not trying to be a father, deadbeat, and so on. But you already know when it comes to dealing with a baby mama terrorist that the majority, I always say that the majority's not gonna side with you. They will side with the woman, whether it's true or not. Even if they see the truth, they don't give a damn, they don't give a f, and it is what it is. So as you see, Brian McKnight is continuing living his life. He's performing overseas. He lost a lot of fan base. He lost a lot of money at one point, but he's still thriving and doing what needs to get done. So, Couch Gang, I got to know, when it comes to Brian McKnight, I got to know, is he a victim or volunteer? I told y'all, Couch Gang, when it comes to a man, it don't matter if he got money, don't have money, if he's the average Joe, or he live his lifestyle, the rich or famous. When you're dealing with a baby mama terrorist, it all in the same. Now, it ain't over yet, motherfucker. Let's go on to the next one. We gotta talk about this crazy, psychotic ass shit. We gotta talk about a sugar daddy, 61 years old, that decided to kill his alleged girlfriend, killed her husband, killed their baby, all because she wouldn't leave her husband. You can't make this shit up. We gotta talk about this one, man. We gotta definitely talk about this unfortunate situation because this crazy motherfucker, not only did he kill the 32-year-old woman because she didn't want to leave her husband, he killed the husband and ended up throwing the baby in the motherfucking lake. You can't make this up. So this dude, 61-year-old Jose Rodriguez, faced first-degree murder in the connection of the deaths of Jaredina. I'm not gonna say the last name because I don't know how to say it, but her last name is Paguro, but then it's dash Manasibo or Masbo, but I'm just gonna say Jaredina. He killed her and killed a 1-year-old son, Jaden Jr. Figueroa. Now, this happened where they found her body on September 19th in Reading, Pennsylvania. The child's body was found the next day in a nearby marsh. Both were reported missing a week before their bodies was found. And according to this criminal complaint, Rodriguez told detectives that he and Jaredina were in an intimate relationship and that he provided money for her, including money to pay her rent. You know what I'm saying? And the tripped out part is on September the 12th, the day of the alleged murders, they say that, she was seen that evening getting into a white SUV that was registered to Rodriguez. She was reportedly carrying her young son, Jaden, in her arms when she got into the back seat. Using the data of the cell phone, investigators tracked her movements to a location where Rodriguez confessed he killed her. Rodriguez told police he fatally shot Peguero in the head because she did not want to leave her husband, then drove to a field where he dumped her body. Damn. And then he said he thought about taking the 1-year-old to the hospital, but decided he decided against it for the fear he'll get caught. He confessed that he drove Jaden down the street and threw him in the lake. And the baby was alive when he threw the baby face down in the muddy water. Also, it said that her husband, Junior Colon, was killed after his wife and child. He was found September the 13th with a gunshot wound to the head. Rodriguez also confessed to killing him, then dumping his body on the roadside. That's crazy. And he said he, stashed the murder weapon underneath the porch, somebody else's home. It was a 9mm handgun that was reported lost in shipping by UPS in June. Now he's locked up in jail without bond. He faces 3 counts of first-degree murder 3 counts of third-degree murder, and 2 counts of abuse with a corpse, and 2 counts of possession of an instrument of crime, tampering with evidence, and carrying a firearm without a license. So just to let y'all know, they did start a GoFundMe to help raise the money to bring them back home because they're from the Dominican Republic. We get $8,000. Right now, they got over $6,000. This is definitely an unfortunate situation that did not have to happen, but what we're gonna do.
A bit more than 2 weeks ago.
The defendant indicated to detectives that he would
Couple leave behind 3 other children between 8 and 13 years of age. Meanwhile, the suspect, Jose Rodriguez, faces a
3 children. The family is asking for help to send the bodies of their loved ones to the Dominican Republic. To learn more, click on our NBC 10 app. Shaira Arias, NBC 10 News.
So as y'all heard, Couch Gang, you know, they asking that crazy question, and it's not crazy, but like it's baffling and crazy that he killed the 1-year-old. Why kill the baby? You know what I'm saying? The neighbors saying, hey man, they lived in the building. They didn't know all this was going on. You know, residents say, hey man, what's going on? So it's more details. No reason why they found out about all what happened, because he confessed. I got a video I want y'all to check out with the interview with the DA. And you can see in the interview, the DA is definitely shaking. You can tell he's kind of emotional. I want y'all to check this out. It's kind of long, but like I say, this is a special and it needs to be talked about. Check this out.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. I'm here today with members of the Reading Police Department, Acting Chief Javier Ruiz, Chief Kaiser of the Northern Berks Regional Police Department, Chief Michael Gumbar of the Berks County District Attorney's Detective Unit, and also Charles Prutzman, Assistant District Attorney. We are here today to announce additional murder charges which were filed this morning against Jose Luis Rodriguez. I think that we will need to address the fact that he was originally charged with murder on September 19th, as I recall, and was in jail, and we filed the additional murder charges this morning against Mr. Rodriguez. His last known address was 1516 Center Avenue. He is 61 years of age. He had previously been charged on September 19th with the murder of Junior Cabrera Colon, and that seemed to be the start of the story, when in fact that murder actually took place after the murders which were charged this morning took place. So he has been incarcerated at Berks County Jail since September 19th, 2025. During the investigation of the murder, it was determined that a female by the name of Geraldine Peguero Mancebo and her 1-year-old son, Jaden Junior Peguero, had been missing. So while the Reading Police Department initially was involved in the investigation of the murder of Junior Cabrera Colon, simultaneously they were also involved in investigating as a result of a tip that they received for a welfare check that Geraldina Peguero Mancebo and Jaden had not been seen and were missing. So all of these investigations were in many respects taking place at the same time. It was determined early on by the Reading police detectives and phone records that they were able to gather that her phone had been stationary in the area of East Huller Lane in Onalani Township. Now that is an area that we will describe in some respects as near the Walmart in Muhlenberg Township. As a result of the fact that she had not been found, the cell phone records kind of indicated that things stopped in that area. As a result, the Reading Police Department then went to that area and discovered Geraldina's body on an access road off of East Huller Lane. However, at that time, her 1-year-old son was not found. Additional investigation indicated that Geraldina and Jaden had entered a car, which was later determined to be the car of the defendant, Jose Luis Rodriguez. During an interview with the defendant admitted to having some sort of relationship with Geraldina. The defendant admitted that on Friday, September 12th, 2025, that he had picked up Geraldina and Jaden, and that it was his intention to drive to the area of East Huller Lane to kill Geraldina because she did not want to leave her husband, Junior Cabrera Colon, that was the body that was found in Bear Park in the city of Reading. The defendant indicated to detectives that he was infuriated because he said that Geraldina was taking his money, and he admitted that he shot Geraldina in the back of the head in the area of Huller Lane in Onalani Township. The defendant then took Jaden down the street and threw him in a lake close to where Geraldina had been killed. The defendant confirmed that Jaden was alive when he threw him face down in the muddy water. Now, I referred to that as a lake. I think it's better referred to as a pond, an area of some water. It's nothing deep or anything like that. The defendant admitted that he did everything by himself and then no one else took part in it. On Saturday, September 20th, 2025, Jaden's body was found approximately 150 yards west of where Geraldina had been found the day before. He was partially submerged in thick mud and water in an algae-covered stagnant body of water. It's approximately 10 to 15 feet from the shoreline. On Monday, the following Monday, or that Monday, Berks County detectives met with the defendant again, and he agreed, and he showed the detectives where he put Geraldina's purse and cell phone, as well as the gun he had used to shoot her. That purse and cell phone were recovered in the 1500 block of North 5th Street. The gun that was used to shoot Geraldina was found underneath the rear porch steps of a home in the 1500 block of Center Avenue. Detectives have located that black 9mm semi-automatic handgun. That handgun was stolen most likely in June of this year. An autopsy indicated that Geraldina was shot in the skull, in the back of her skull. Her cause of death was a single gunshot wound. The autopsy for Jaden, the 1-year-old child, indicated there was no sign of external trauma. Jaden was alive at the time he was submerged into the water, and the autopsy revealed that there was mud in his lungs. The cause of death was determined to be freshwater drowning. After Geraldina and Jaden were murdered, the defendant murdered Junior Cabrera Colon. Now, his body was found by patrol officers for the city of Reading in the vicinity of Bear Park near the basketball courts. It was determined that Cabrera suffered, again, a gunshot to the back of his head. That is the investigation that started all of this, the finding of the body in Bear Park. But it was actually the last murder that he committed. The investigation by detectives with the Reading Police Department determined that Cabrera's body was dumped in Bear Park, and as a result of video, a car that was matching the description was then later found in the area of 1500 block of Pear Street. That vehicle was initially towed as a result of a parking violation. Investigators followed up when looking at the vehicle when they saw blood inside. They saw blood in the front driver, front passenger, and rear driver's seat, and a spent shell casing could also be seen in the middle console. As a result, the Reading Police Department obtained a search warrant for that vehicle during this investigation. There were numerous interviews with the defendant and others. Those interviews, in those interviews, the defendant, Rodriguez, claimed that Cabrera argued with him about his involvement with Peguero Mancebo, Geraldine Peguero Mancebo, and a physical altercation took place in the 1500 block of Pear Street. Rodriguez told the police that during this altercation, a gun was knocked out of Cabrera's hand, and that Rodriguez picked up the gun and fired one shot at Cabrera, hitting him in the back of the head. Rodriguez admitted he put Cabrera's body into Cabrera's car and drove him to the park where he left his body. Now, we're still in the initial parts of the investigation. I would suggest most likely that his version is only partially accurate. This individual has now been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and abuse of corpse and associated charges. As a team, and they should all receive a lot of credit for that. As a result, we promptly took this murderer off our streets, and we have an individual here who committed some atrocious acts that just are unimaginable. We will avail ourselves, or will allow you to obtain copies of the affidavits of probable cause and criminal complaints, so you can review them. But I will tell you that we look forward to the prosecution of this defendant. We will be considering filing a notice to seek the death penalty. We have not made any final decision as we speak. Mr. Rodriguez had rented an apartment at the Lincoln Tower Apartments off of 5th Street for Peguero Mancebo, but we don't know in depth the actual extent of this relationship. So I would hate to make a misstatement about that, but that will be part of our ongoing investigation to try to determine the relationship and what was involved. But no matter what, no one deserved to die.
Do you know how long they knew each other for? Approximately.
No, I don't, off the top of my eye. You mean Peguero Mancebo, Geraldine, and the defendant?
The defendant, yeah.
I do not know how long that they knew each other. I can tell you over a year. That is certain, over a year, but I don't know exactly how long they knew each other.
Did they work together at Amazon?
We do believe that they met working at warehouses off of 61, and I think it was called Reveal. And but I know that the defendant, Jose Rodriguez, was no longer working there. But that is one. We do know that they worked in the same warehouse in off of Route 61 as you go north outside of the city, and most likely on Alani Township area also, or I'm not exactly sure which township, but north on 61 there's a number of warehouses, and they work together up there. However, Jose Rodriguez at the time of this homicide, we believe, was working at Bell and Evans, a chicken processing in the upper parts of Berks County.
In some of the paperwork, he described someone named Alex who used to work at that warehouse. Is that him? Was he talking about himself?
I think that was Alex was. I don't know that we know exactly who Alex is. Alex was. I think the defendant was trying to blame it on Alex. That's what Alex was. And Alex, I'm sure will, if Alex does exist, we'll determine who he was during our ongoing investigation. But the defendant has made admissions to all three homicides. He has admitted what he did.
You could say he confessed to all three.
Yes. He admitted that he threw that baby in the pond.
Did he have any assistance, though?
We at this point do not believe that anyone else may have been involved, but that's under investigation also. Was there a second person involved with the one of the homicides? We'll be looking into that. Excuse me, but at this point, Jose Rodriguez has been charged with all three murders. Yes, it's an ongoing investigation, and if we determine that someone else had some part of the murder, and I think if anyone had any part what he was telling the police.
His actual immigration status.
Immigration? Okay, the defendant is here legally, a green card. He is from Dominican Republic. Correct? Yeah, Dominican Republic. He is here legally. So we do know that. But he is not, we do not believe he is a citizen, but he was here legally. And as I stated, no prior criminal history.
How many charges is facing Mr. Rodriguez right now?
How many charges? Well, he's facing numerous charges. Most importantly, 3 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of third-degree murder, aggravated assault, abuse of corpse, and some related charges, including firearms not to be carried without a license. So he is facing multiple felony charges.
Mr. Dean, you mentioned the gun was stolen. Did he steal that gun, you know, or?
We have no evidence that he stole that gun. We know that the gun was stolen because the gun murdered. So this is very, very tragic case, very tragic. Thank you for coming here today.
So y'all heard of Cal's gang. He very detailed of the murders, the story. You could see in his face he's shaking. He looked like he's hurt, and probably mostly because, you know, it's senseless, and probably because of that 1-year-old baby. This is something that's crazy, man. Look, for y'all dudes out here, man, you know, you want to be a sugar daddy, or you want to, you know, try to use money to get with a woman. You know, money is not going to get you that woman. She's going to use you to get whatever she can get out of you until it dries out or until you walk away. It's not worth killing her and the family because you made an executive decision to have a relationship with her, intimate relationship with her, and get money. And you thought because your money was gold that you would be able to pull her. And it don't always work like that. Now, mind you, they were illegal. The family were illegal. He wasn't. And he's supposed to be friends. He's supposed to be helping them out and everything else. And the family is going to tell you that they don't know nothing about no They talk about the detail of the 61-year-old who killed the husband. And he said basically it was self-defense because the guy had the gun, he took the gun from him and killed him. That's what he's saying. But now we're gonna get to the next video clip where you talk about the family talk about trying to bring him home and saying that he was a friend of the family, he was like family and so on. Check it out.
A man is charged in the brutal killing of a wife and husband and their young son. At first, prosecutors linked him to just one death, but today they revealed why they believe he is responsible for all three. Tonight, their family is opening up to NBC 10 Shair Arias about their loss.
Officials are calling this case tragic and horrific as this makeshift memorial continues to grow for Junior Cabrera, his wife and son. The district attorney revealed new details about the three deaths and a possible motive.
He was a friend, but still, I don't know why. He probably was obsessed. I don't know. But the thing that I know is the fact that he didn't have to kill three people. And honestly, I thank God because my auntie, she has no hate right now in her heart. She just wants justice.
Family members of 31-year-old Geraldina Peguero Mancebo, her husband Junior Cabrera Colon, and their baby Jaden Jr. Peguero spoke with NBC 10, sharing their grief as details of their brutal murders comes to light.
I don't think that any of us could imagine.
According to court documents, 61-year-old Jose Luis Rodriguez confessed to killing Geraldina and Jaden on September 12th and then killing Junior the following day. Investigators say Rodriguez told them he planned to kill Geraldina because she was supposedly taking money from him and she did not want to leave her husband Junior. Authorities say Rodriguez told them he drove to a brushy field in Ontoluni Township where he first shot Geraldina in the head and then killed her 1-year-old.
The defendant confirmed that Jaden was alive when he threw him face down in the muddy water.
On September 13th, Geraldina's family reported her and baby Jaden missing. The same day, police say Rodriguez met with Junior. An argument unfolded reportedly over Geraldina. It escalated. Rodriguez allegedly picked up Junior's own gun and shot him in the head. Junior's body was found first. A week later, the bodies of Geraldina and Jaden were discovered in a grassy field outside Redding. Geraldina's family says the man now accused of killing them was someone the couple had trusted. He was more than a family friend. He was the one who helped them find a home.
Cousin and her husband, they were immigrants. They were not legal. So they needed someone who Jose Luis was the friend to rent the apartment.
Now this shattered family is fighting to bring the bodies back to the Dominican Republic. The couple leaves behind 3 surviving children.
So if you guys want to support this family, in this case, we have until Friday to complete all the funds to send the bodies back.
Rodriguez is facing 3 counts of first-degree murder and other charges. The district attorney says his office is planning to pursue the death penalty in this case. In Redding, Shaira Arias, NBC 10 News.
So you heard from the cousin that they were illegal and he was supposed to be there to help. He was family, he was friends, been knowing for a lot of years. They don't know nothing about being a sugar daddy and having an intimate relationship that he said, and they want to try to get them to come back. This is definitely an unfortunate situation and it shouldn't have happened. I wish it didn't happen. And I definitely feel bad for the 1-year-old. And if it is true about this 61-year-old sugar daddy dealing with the wife, paying her and letting them drive the car, live in the apartment, what do y'all think about her? Because, you know, sometimes when you play with people's emotions, you can go down a deadly path to a deadly end. And as we see, the whole family is wiped out. What do y'all think about her? Well, we'll get to that towards the end. I gotta play one last video, and Cal's gang, you already know what I'm gonna wanna know. So I want y'all to check this out. Last news clip, and I get back at it.
We're standing off East Huller Lane. You can see crime scene tape still marks the spot here where investigators were searching and where they ultimately found the body of a 31-year-old woman and her 1-year-old son. And while police have said that a person is in custody for the murder of a third man, they have not yet said what links that case to this one here. Endangered missing persons. That's how Redding police described 31-year-old Geraldina Peguero Mancebo and her 1-year-old son, Jaden Jr. Peguero. The 2 police said had not been seen since September 12th, last near an apartment complex on North 5th Street. Late last week, they released this flyer. Police say mom and son lived with Junior Cabrera Colon, seen here in a photo posted on a crowdfunding site. It was on Saturday, September 13th, that his body was found in a Reading park. Then police began looking for Mancebo and her son. Social media posts show the missing mom and son, some commenting how sad the woman's husband was found dead, and now they're missing. In missing person alerts, police didn't mention Colon or the discovery of his body. But that news was released today as the Berks County DA announced one man is in custody for the murder of Colon, who had been found with a gunshot wound. But no mention of any connection between the mother and her son's killing, and who may be responsible. What the district attorney's office has said is that information developed during that first murder case is what led them here to this scene to discover those two bodies. The DA says he has plans to announce much more on this case next week. In Berks County, Deanna Durante, NBC 10 News.
Well, y'all heard it, Cows Gang. You know, it's definitely an unfortunate situation. But when you go on Instagram, there's a lot of people who are commenting saying that stop playing with people's emotions. Some people saying that, hey, you know, unfortunate situation, but this is what happens when you play with somebody's emotions and feelings and you taking their money. You have some people saying that they believe that the husband knew that his wife was taking his money and, you know, they was both in on it. And the others are saying it was all her. She was trying to get over on him and send him off and look where we at today. Cows Gang. Whether the husband knew, whether if he didn't know, well, I'll tell you this, if the husband didn't know, then basically he died. When it comes to the husband, Junior Cabrera Colon, I also gotta know, is he a victim or volunteer? Please, 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 keep your emotions in check and stop trying to lead with your wallets, because what you think you're gonna get ain't gonna be. And also, for you people out here that's taking people money and you think you're getting away with something, laughing and, you know, spinning it up and sending them off, this can happen to you as well. Think about that before you decide to do some shit like this. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is over. Cows Gang, Cows Gang.